Now let's begin the conversation. When disputes arise between government officials and private sector giants, public accountability becomes inevitable. President Bola Tinubu has received the resignations of Engineer Farouk Ahmed, former head of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA), and Benga Komolafe was a former chief executive officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC). The development follows the public dispute between Mr. Ahmed and the president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, over downstream petroleum regulation allegations of corruption and economic sabotage. Dangote also made personal allegations against Mr. Ahmed, claiming that the former regulator spent millions of dollars on the education of his children abroad. Furthermore, President Tinubu has forwarded the names of new nominees to the Senate for confirmation as chief executives of the Nigeria's upstream and downstream petroleum regulators. In separate letters to the Senate, the president nominated Orishameyiwa Amanorosewo Eyeson as chief executive officer of the NUPRC and engineer Saidu Aliyu Mohammed as the chief executive officer of the NMDPRA. Okay, all right, gentlemen. BK, I'll start with you. First of all, the resignation of Farouk Ahmed and Benga Komolafe. How did you receive it? Surprised or not?
Yes, I was surprised. Frankly, I didn't see it coming. I thought that Farouk will hang on right up to the end. I thought he would defend his name, defend his family name. I thought he would stand up to Dangote right up to the end. But I was taken aback when I saw what looked like a detailed response to the allegations, only to read again in the dailies that Farouk had denied authoring that response to the allegations made against him. So I was really taken aback. And then all along the impression we were given was that the president, he had the president's back.
Oh, okay.
The president does not see anything wrong in allowing importation of petroleum products as a way of boosting energy security. As I've said before, even the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia imports crude oil from Nigeria.
Sure.
They use our crude to blend their own variant of crude oil, which is certainly dirtier. And ours is lighter. Ours is the most expensive.
Yes.
Seen as the Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, I wanted you to say
industry.
that.
Yes. I like to say that. Yesterday I was looking at the pricing template and I saw that our crude was even more than $8 higher.
$8 higher?
Higher than
the Brent crude?
Than WTI.
Okay, WTI, okay.
You know, so I thought Farouk would defend himself to the very end. But one thing is clear. Dangote sees the unrestrained importation of PMS as a plot to kill his refinery. That's what he's been saying all along. He doesn't believe that we should have a refinery that has the capacity to produce all that we need to supply all our needs. You know, our daily petrol needs, and then we'll be spending hard-hand foreign exchange, you know, importing. Even though I would not want a total halt to importation of petroleum products, but I also agree that the quantum of petrol being imported into our country at a time when we have a refinery so big as Dangote's refinery, 650,000 barrels capacity, I believe that we shouldn't be importing that much, at the risk of sounding like someone bent on supporting Dangote.
Yes.
I do not think that if the figures that are being bandied about
Our daily consumption.
Figures that represent our level of importation of premium motor spirits. If those figures are true, then there's a reason to be worried, because it's just too much.
Okay.
For those who are convinced that we need to do something to strengthen our currency, there's no way they will not support Dangote on this.
Yes.
Because the demand for foreign exchange, for dollars, will continue to go sky high as long as we continue to import premium motor spirits at the level that we are importing it. We can spend that, we can use that foreign exchange to do other things,
Yes.
rather than devote so much
On
to
importation.
import something that is readily available here. I know how people are thinking, Dangote is a monopolist, he's going to, if he's left alone to decide the price of petrol, it's dangerous, this and that, But I still don't think that we have any reason in the world to import that much. And I believe that Farouk and Dangote should have had that sit down together for the regulator to say, okay, how much can you produce on a daily basis for us?
Okay.
When we look at how much you can produce, we can then decide that, okay, this is what we need. If we cannot produce, if we cannot meet our needs, we can then say, okay, let's peg the quantum of importation at so
figure. Okay. Okay.
But there was no such conversation, there was no such meeting where both men agreed that, okay, this is what I can produce. This is the shortfall. And how do we ensure that we achieve consistent supply of petroleum products, especially during this season when naturally demand will spike.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, both men had been at daggers drawn.
Yeah.
Remember, Farouk once said that Dangote's diesel at that time was not of premium quality and all that, high sulfur content. And so Dangote had been thinking, this person is working with those who do not want my refinery to survive. But at the same time, those who invested so much to build tank farms, to bring in products at a time when we neither had Dangote refineries and we neither had our own refineries functioning. There are people who are saying we shouldn't just allow them to fizzle out, to die, just because a refinery has come on stream. So there is the president, the government has to find, strike a balance, because these are big investments and there are Nigerians working.
Exactly.
Yes.
True.
So
True.
whatever decision we take will have serious ramifications on the continuation of their business.
Yes.
But I agree that we have to do a lot to help promote local refining, ensure that this big refinery that God has blessed us with does not die.
Yes.
I do not think that the refinery would die. Dangote is so smart as an individual that he will always find a way to survive.
Absolutely.
Even when people gang up against him, he always finds a way to survive, and his tentacles are spread beyond Nigeria.
Exactly.
So even when people gang up, he will still find patrons, outside the shores of our country to ensure that he keeps his business afloat.
All right. What do you make of this? I mean, the resignation of Farouk Abed in Benga Komolafe. Did that even come to you as a surprise? I was shocked when I heard that.
Exactly. Although both men were actually appointed by the former president Muhammadu Buhari in 2021. So we are even looking at them doing. They were already doing well, you know, especially Benga Komolafe in the upstream sector, who increased the drilling capacity of Nigeria from 8 to about 70. You know, as at October 2025, you know, he increased it. He even brought in, you know, perfect transparency in that particular sector.
Some policies, yes.
His reforms, you know, resonated, you know, immensely in that in the upstream sector, and so a lot of people were taken aback that what happened, why did he resign, and maybe he too did not really was not comfortable with how maybe Mr. Dangote was going after his Mr. Farouk, you know. So
I think the president just tried to do some
balancing, you know,
because we are a complex country. If he took out an Hausa Fulani man and he left a Yoruba man.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
By now you know what people
lots of tongues.
Exactly. So truly we live in a very complex
because Dangote didn't really go for him.
Exactly.
For the other man.
He meant for the other one. So I just like so many people have been talking about this issue, I look at it from the national security perspective, you know, because people already are saying they are already afraid of him, Mr. Dangote, monopolizing that sector, you know, because already he's refining, and he also wants to also be a player in the retail market too, you know. So there's this fear.
And depot services.
No. So if you remember, there was a time NUPRC and Pengas you know, had to go on strike because of him. And so that is the major fear by people. So, but this issue, that also came up because he was one of the people trying to stop, you know, from the issuance of licenses, you know, for people to import. But we can't just depend on only Mr. Dangote's fuel. But he wants us to just depend entirely on him. You know, so but where I have reservation is the issue about coming out with going personal with Farouk. You know, talking about his family, listing the children's name, and that he's living above his means.
I heard comments that, you know, so Dangote is acting like a whistleblower.
You know, like exactly. You know, but I think that was too personal, and it was a direct attack on the family, not just on him, but the entire family, the entire Ahmed family, which to me doesn't look good. Because if you look at it, it's something that they could have sat down to discuss. It's business, and business starts somewhere and ends somewhere. You shouldn't go down to people's, you know, into people's.
All right, let's look at the other side of this conversation. You know, the president has requested expedited Senate confirmation, you know, for Orisha Meiwa, Eison, and Saidu Aliyu Mohammed. Now, what kind of questions do you expect members of the Senate to pose at the nominees when they, or should they just bow and go?
No, no appointee should bow and go if we are a serious country. Even those who had served in similar capacities in the past, you still need to ask them questions.
Sure.
You still need to ask them questions, not just telling people to bow and go, you know. And for me, they are going to be asking them what they are going to do differently. What are you going to be doing to For example, for the man who is going to be the regulator for the upstream sector, what are you going to do to move us to the 2 million per day threshold, for example? We are capable of doing 2.5 million barrels a day. We are capable. During the Jonathan era, we did more than 2 million barrels a day. We have the capacity, but a lot of wellheads are dormant at this time, and there's a need for greater investment in that sector. When we can get more people to invest in the sector, we will certainly be able to stimulate production.
Okay.
The reason production went down was because some of the multinationals left Nigeria, divested and all that.
Yes.
So what are they going to be doing to stimulate greater investment in the sector? It's a very important question to ask. Oil theft has gone down during Gbenga Komola's time. Gbenga Komola can raise his head high. He can feel good at the progress that happened during his time. I believe that a regulator shouldn't be cutting corners.
Okay.
You know, the regulator shouldn't simply be issuing licenses all over the place. There are many things that they need to do. For example, Dangote accuses NMDPRA of not even having functional laboratories. That when people bring bad fuel into our country, they are not even in position to test.
The quality.
And he proudly showcased his own laboratories. You know, I went there and even did a little story there. You know, because for a refinery that wants to command respect globally, that wants to be seen as a big global player, you need all of those things in place.
Okay.
Clients from America, from Asia, will want to buy products from you.
Yes.
They have to be sure what they are buying.
True.
That's why Dangote intentionally invested on a fantastic laboratory infrastructure. That's what he's done. There's nothing that man does that is not intentional about. So it's not when he invested, because he knows he has to show that yes, we have integrity, we have capacity to give you the best. And when those people see what he has, they know that yes, this is a refinery that we can do business with and feel comfortable that we are buying the best product. That's why he's invested that much on those on the laboratories. I believe that going forward, having been accused of not having good laboratories to test product coming to our country, I believe that NMDPRA should actually be investing on that
laboratory,
so that you can you can proudly say, yeah, we have good facility to test product coming into our country. I don't think that this conversation will end at this point. I've seen other people challenge Dangote and are worried about his intentions. They don't know what his intentions are. They are worried. But at the end of the day, the government has to take the right decision.
Sure.
And what has happened also reinforces the reality that when you have somebody of Dangote's stature, they will have influence. They will be strong players in terms of the decision making about business in our country. He is occupying a space that no one else can feel at this time. So his voice will be strong. His voice will be clear, and the government will inexorably have to listen to it. Because if with that refinery now,
Okay.
our currency can get stronger
Sure.
because we can earn foreign exchange through the refinery, and we can keep, we can preserve precious foreign exchange with greater production on its part, which would not necessitate the level of importation that we used to have, which many people have described as helping helping the economies of other countries to thrive. So it's a very emotive argument. At the end of the day, I expect the government to do what is right.
All right, gentlemen. Let's move straight to our next conversation, the back and forth.